Today is Wednesday, September 18, 2024, and the moon is covered with clouds, and the fountain is going, and the lightning in the sky, some rains. But anyways, this is what happened today. Well, last year, February, I started a multicultural activity club in the community I live in, and it goes good, okay, for a few months, and then just in June month, well, May month, we're having May mixer, and some of them decided to lie, and I was like, really, you guys did this and stuff. But one lady by the name of Arlene, the very first meeting I had on March 31st of 2023, we were taking pictures, and just because I'm putting my hands by my face, she hit me. She raised her hands and hit me, assaulted me, and says, stop it. But people is just here, they're saying stop it. But people don't know that I am not doing anything wrong. I am not hurting anybody, right? I was just posing with my hands by my face. Anyways, from that, she always jumped down my throat and barked down my throat, you know. And then she left the club after May Mixer. And then there's another guy named Robert who had lied, also there. But he was give the speech for Juneteenth. And at Juneteenth meeting, after he gave the speech, he started raising his voice at me and shouting at me, and everybody was there and hear him and see him, and saying he wants to see who's going to come to the July meeting, and he wants to see who's going to go to the picnic in the park in July, or the members' birthday celebration. We were calling it then, that's what we called it last year. Anyways, nobody had showed up for the July meeting. So I had made a video, but five of us shows up for the picnic, and a couple from the club that was there, some of their relatives and friends, you know, make up. But anyways, I continue to have, you know, meetings and events throughout the year until December. So it was on them and not me if they weren't showing up for the stuff, you know. And then they all start condemning me, criticizing me. All these people who I went to with the form to join this club and sign up and join with me, all of them turned against me, and they started criticizing, condemning me, and all this stuff. So it's because of me they're not coming out to the meetings. Anyways, starting back in January of 2024, we had to get the 25 members and submitted the board of directors, the signatures, and the 25 members by the 31st of January. And we barely made it to get ours. And we get it and we submit it. And with all of this, they're coming and talking to me. They're talking into their phone first. Then they're muting the phone. They come and they yell and scream at me or ask me something totally different from what they're talking to their phone. And then when I answer them regarding what they asked me, they unmute the phone and they let that answer go to something totally different what they said before on the record. But I didn't know they were doing all this stuff. I know they're holding phone and recording. And I know they were talking like easy on the phone, and they mute it, and they yell and scream and shout at me. And when I respond accordingly, they unmute the phone. And there's so many of them, and it's just me alone. So they always be staring, and they always be doing it for each other, and they all watching me. So they wanted me out of the club. So they started going and complaining to Yvonne, who's the chairman of the recreation district. And she's just listening to their side, and she had hated me. She hated me from day one, and she still hates me more now. She never was willing to listen to me. She always accused me wrongfully and never listened to my side. She listened to their side all the time, each and every one of them. And they're saying about the 6 or 7 of them against me alone. Anyways, with God's grace and power, all of that is returned to them. So anyway, Arlene assaulted me then, March 31st of 2023. So I had told Carlin this when me and Carlin used to hang out. So when I was the president, Carlin was the vice president. We used to do almost everything together. And I used to tell her, well, it's when she's here in Florida or when she's gone. But everything, every single thing I used to report to her. You know, I used to tell her everything, never keep her in the dark. So anyways, when Yvonne, even though we got a member, so Yvonne came back, Arlene came back to the club in January this year. And then Yvonne came back in February, and then Yvonne came back in February. Yvonne saying she bring up this topic how everybody hates me and nobody wants me in the club and stuff, and if I'm gonna step down as president. And well, I mean, I was doing majority of the things. As I was a president, and I was a treasurer, and I was assisting with the secretariat functions as well, because we've had 2 secretaries and none of them had functioned very well. And at that time, they were gone and we had a new one. But all through last year, I was assisting with that. So I was doing the majority of the work in the club. And even though I would call a meeting and ask and stuff, no one was ever they're willing to voluntarily help or anything. Most of the time I go and set up by myself, and when breaking down, a couple of them would help. And anyways, no went on. So Yvonne said, oh, Carlin is next in line, step up. And at first Carlin pretended to say that she didn't want it, but you know, but she wanted it. But then nobody else wanted to come up for and be the president or VP. So they didn't never get anybody to the VP. So who remained the VP? Not me. And I'm the treasurer still. But now Carlin started keeping me in the dark, in the complete dark. She